initiative? I guess I'll find out. As I gathered my notepad and pen, I gave the desk I'd worked at for nearly 3 years a lingering glance in case I never saw it again. Maybe I'd picked up Louisa's habit of projecting potential disaster, but employees from our floor who were ordered upstairs on such short notice generally didn't return. The thought filled me with fear. I loved my job, had worked so hard to heave myself a rung or two up the corporate ladder one late night at a time. I didn't want to slide back down because I'd made an impulsive decision. If anyone from security shows up to pack my stuff, will you message me? I whispered. When Louisa gave me a nod and wished me good luck, I returned the gestures with what felt like a grimace before dashing for the stairs. My pulse quickened when I pushed the heavy gray metal door open. 2 seconds after slamming shut behind me with a solid clunk, it opened again. When I turned, Miles stood at the bottom step, one of the typical snide grins he usually sent my way plastered across his face. He was a handsome guy. Tall, square jaw, great head of hair. But he was pompous and ruthless. Something I'd learned the hard way. "Trouble in paradise?" he said. Instead of a reply, I gave him his third withering look of the day, which wasn't even a record, and continued upward, telling myself to keep calm and not let him get to me. Considering our history, it was easier said than done, and getting more difficult with each passing day. Another flight of stairs later, and it was as if I'd arrived in a different world. Up here, instead of the splotchy, coffee-stained, faded green carpet from my office, the floors were thick planks of polished oak. The kind where you fretted over leaving dusty prints in your wake, no matter how many times you'd wiped your shoes. A sleek Christmas tree stood in one corner, covered with gold baubles and fancy crystal candy canes. This sophisticated Fraser fir looked nothing like the fake, sad, second-hand one on our level, which Louisa insisted we yank from the broom closet every December and decorate with yards of popcorn garlands to hide the missing branches. She'd gone all out with her side of our cubicle this year, too, with red tinsel and sparkly silver star ornaments, a giant plaid stocking, and a set of white pom-pom string lights. Last week, she'd added a motion-activated, foot-high Santa who wiggled his hips and sang "Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree" every time we moved, until the batteries mysteriously disappeared. In contrast, my desk, which was the kind of run-down, chipped brown laminate relic from the 70s everyone had on our floor, was almost bare. Unlike Louisa, I didn't care for the holidays. Not since my dad walked out on Mom and me 3 weeks before Christmas when I was 10. Things had never been the same between us since. Or between me and Mom. I couldn't wait to get the whole season over with for another year. I pressed on. The scent of freshly brewed coffee from expensive chrome machines filled the air while I hurried past gleaming wooden desks and an array of conference rooms complete with bespoke oval tables, designer leather chairs, and sweeping views of the city. Only a couple of the rooms were already occupied. Unlike the staff downstairs, who always reminded me of manic bees buzzing around a huge hive, the employees on this level were permitted to arrive by a leisurely 10 a.m., oozing a serene professionalism. They waltzed into the foyer wearing expensive suits and starched shift dresses, and I felt self-conscious in my Target and H&M combos. I only glimpsed this upper floor a handful of times a year, whenever I'd drop off reports for Valerie or attend the rare meeting, and each time I'd dream of being transferred up here on a permanent basis. It would certainly wipe the perma-smirk off Miles' face, although I refused to imagine his victorious sneer if Valerie fired me today. It was no secret that I was ambitious and driven. I wouldn't celebrate my 30th birthday until the summer, but I'd set my sights on a high-flying career before graduating from high school in the tiny town of Bart's Hollow in Ontario, Canada. I'd escaped one of the most frigid places on Earth as soon as I could, trying to leave behind the memories of my father.